Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/ProRevenge. In today's episode, take my money, sell me crap, then be prepared to lose your business. Revenge to the tune of $50,000 plus on owner who wrongfully fired me. Somebody tried to stand in a parking spot to hold it so they could move closer. Before we get into today's episode, remember to subscribe so you never miss a video. So let's get started. Take my money, sell me crap, then be prepared to lose your business. So, a few decades back, I was involved with a group of guys with a little money and we wanted something substantial to invest in. We decided to buy a restaurant franchise. I will not even say what kind, as that could identify me. Well, everything was going along swimmingly, until my partners backed out. I, unfortunately, was the face of the group, and my signature was on the bottom line, so I got stuck with running the place. It soon became apparent that there were a lot of inconsistencies. The big number one was that the sales in the prospectus were nowhere near what was being generated. Then there were other things, customers calling for their regular order. Well, it turned out that my particular franchise had been used for the past several years to deal grass and various drugs. The former manager had made some serious coin, and was not happy that I had purchased his place. Well, life is not fun when you have just sunk six figures, and the likelihood is that you have flushed it down the toilet. However, I was not going to be trifled with. First, I called the accounting firm who signed off on the prospectus. The partner in charge was taken aback. They had never signed off. I presented myself in their offices, and spent the next few hours with them and their attorneys. Their name could not be associated with something fraudulent. Next, I wanted my money back, and the chief franchisor told me that they would immediately put mine up for sale, but the market was not quite as high as it was when I bought it, less than 3 months previously. Then the prick had the audacity to demand that I paid up for my last order from the commissary. Something else to consider. I took the price list provided by the central commissary that we as franchisees were compelled to use. Buying fruits, vegetables, cheese and meat from outside the system would be accompanied by fines from the franchisor. I marched myself back to the accounting firm, and asked for a bit of analysis. Turns out commissary prices were from 10 to 300% higher than market. In other words, the franchisor was not interested in food, they were interested in turning around franchises. Well, that little report found its way into the hands of 20 local franchisees. Suddenly, the central commissary was not being used. The district manager starts showing up writing fines. Turns out the district manager is the guy who was supplying the manager of my franchise. I have him on discarded VHS security tape selling. So, I take the tapes to the accounting firm for secure storage. Then I go to the franchisor's offices. I lay it on the line that I have their district guy selling drugs in my restaurant. They laugh at me, until I tell them that I am the one who supplied the report to the rest of their franchisees. Oh, and by the way, we are starting an action against you. I then showed them that we had placed liens on the building they owned, their commissary, their homes and their vehicles. I said I have enough to put you guys in jail. So, their mental giants sit me down, write up a little release, and go get me a certified check for every dime I put into the franchise. I agree to the release. However, they do not realize that the gouging, and the evidence is still in the hands of others. All they succeeded in doing was to get me off the list of owners suing them. Well, the case came to court. And who do you think was on the stand giving a complete rundown? One of them stood up in court and said, "Didn't we pay you to shut up? No, you refunded me the money you stole." Now they had 19 other guys taking them apart. I heard one of the franchisors cried when they took his Porsche. His wife left his soon thereafter. Revenge to the tune of $50,000 plus on owner who wrongfully fired me. This is a lengthy story that happened to me around 6 years ago. I applied for a job as a bar manager at a new resto bar that opened up in my area, Ontario, Canada. The owner of this bar had some issues with her liquor license being revoked at a previous establishment, and there was some sort of stipulation, this part I'm not clear on, where she was required to not be on site or involved in the business in any capacity for any reason. She was a prohibited person, and I believe she made her husband the owner on paper, but for this story, she is referred to as the owner. Hire a manager with 5+ years experience and a Smart Serve certificate to run and be responsible for the bar in order to get another liquor license. After a short interview process, I was offered the job, and was told of these terms. I accepted them despite the already apparent red flags. I was a very poor student. When the restaurant per bar opened, everything quickly fell apart. Despite the owner not being allowed to be on premises, she proceeded to micromanage both the kitchen and front of house. She stopped scheduling kitchen staff to save money, and was working in the kitchen herself. Food quality plummeted, customers became irate at how long of a wait it was, and word spread quickly in the small town. Eventually, a select few regulars became our only customers. More hours got cut. Waitresses and kitchen staff were let go. The owner was now drinking at the bar, and at the same time was waitressing and cooking. This was all in the matter of a month. One night that month, it was exceptionally nice out, and we had a lot of boaters in the area. We had a pier near the bar where boats could dock and walk into the restaurant. A large group had walked in on this night, and they were both very clearly underage and very clearly over-intoxicated. I immediately cut them off, to which they made a very large stink about it, enough that the owner's husband came over to ask what happened. I explained that I had cut the group off and wasn't going to serve them, to which the owner's husband decided to take their drink orders and serve them anyways. Obviously money was tight, so they didn't care about the rules. The next day, the owner pulled me into the office, and accused me of stealing $50 out of the till the night previous. I knew this to be a lie that could be easily disproven because there is a camera located directly above the till that is synced to the time code on the POS. I was fired on the spot. I 100% believed this was because I was refusing to serve customers, and thereby damaging their bottom line. I was really miffed to be accused of doing something I didn't do, and more upset that she used this lie she made up as an excuse to fire me. Because the stipulation of her having her liquor license was me working at the bar as manager, I emailed the Liquor Control Board when I got home and informed them of the rules being broken at the bar. A liquor inspector came to meet me later that week, and took a statement. He then paid a surprise visit to the bar and was able to witness all of the things that I informed him, including the owner both being on site and being involved in the business, serving minors, and serving intoxicated persons. The liquor inspector slapped them with a very large fine, north of $50,000. Their liquor license was suspended, and the owner was too broke to pay the fine, and was forced to close the restaurant. I received death threats from her for a while after that, but the revenge was absolutely worth it. Somebody tried to stand in a parking spot to hold it so they could move closer. First time post in this thread, not great with grammar, so please forgive me. I was reading through this thread and it jogged my memory. One afternoon around 5 p.m. around 105 degrees, relevant later, in the US, my wife, my in-laws, my 2 kids, and I are in a packed parking lot outside of a little market. There also happened to be a fair going on at the same time. There being so many of us, we had to take 2 vehicles. That being said, my mill is handicapped and has the parking that comes along with it. However, there was no open handicap parking spots available. So I found 2 parking spots, one being closer than the other. I took the parking spot furthest away so they could park as close as possible, so she wouldn't have to walk far. She has a bad back. As I parked, a woman got out of the passenger seat of a parked car further down and walked up to the open parking spot and took her stance. My in-laws tried pulling into the parking spot and the woman would not move. So I did the only reasonable thing you can do in that situation. I stood behind my in-laws' car and in front of the other woman's car, whom the lady standing was waiting for. She yelled at me to move, so I calmly said, "No, you can't hold that parking spot, she needs to move." She yelled some more and refused to budge. So I did the best thing I could. I told them I have all day, and I sat in the middle of the parking lot in front of that car in the blistering heat. After about 2 minutes of me sitting there, the woman trying to hold the parking spot finally moved so my in-laws could park there. Man, was my ass on fire, but it was 100% worth it as she walked away pissed off. And to make matters better, she lost her other parking spot and I'm pretty sure they had to park a lot further than they were. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe and we'll see you in the next video.